So for this video, I'm going to be discussing Stephen King books on Spotify. If you don't know, if you have Spotify Premium, like if you pay for Spotify, you can listen to audiobooks on them. And basically all of Stephen King's audiobooks are on Spotify. With the catch, though, that Spotify will only let you listen to, I think, 15 hours of audiobooks per month, which kind of sucks if you like longer books. Obviously, like It is like 43 hours, so you'd have to, it would literally take you 3 months to read It on Spotify, which is kind of dumb. But for today's video, I'm going to be going over all of the Stephen King books that you can read on Spotify, that you can listen to on Spotify in 1 month that are 15 hours or shorter. And then obviously I'll mention some that are obviously more than 15 hours. But that's basically the gist of this video. It's going to be helpful for me because we're going to be doing the Stephen King book club next year. We are doing it this year with The Shining and Dr. Sleep. Both of those are over 15 hours, so not the best to listen to on Spotify. But there are some options for the Stephen King book club that are less than 15 hours, that if you have Spotify, you can go ahead and listen to them on Spotify. But yeah, that's the gist of this video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. So first off, we have Carrie, which definitely can be listened to on Spotify. I think the audiobook is like 7 hours. Very short, one of Stephen King's shortest novels. Definitely available on Spotify that you can listen to in 1 month. Salem's Lot, I believe, is 17 hours, so that would take you 2 months, so not the best option. The same with The Shining, it's like just under 16 hours, so you'd get like right to the very end, and then Spotify would cut you off, so not a great idea. We have Night Shift, and this is kind of an interesting situation. For some reason, they split the audiobook up into 3 parts, but I believe those 3 parts are less than 15 hours, so you should be able to listen to those no problem. And then we have The Long Walk. That's like a 10-hour audiobook, so that's definitely less than 15 hours. You can get through that. The Dead Zone, unfortunately, I think is 16 hours, so my all-time favorite Stephen King book cannot be listened to on Spotify in 1 month. What a shame. Then we have Roadwork, which is our Stephen King book club pick for November 2025. This can be listened to on Spotify. Very short. I think it's like 8 hours, so that's definitely an option. Firestarter comes in at like just under 15 hours, so you're reaching the max limit here, but you can definitely listen to Firestarter in 1 month and be good to go. Same with Cujo. I think it's like a 13-hour audiobook, so you can definitely listen to that and be safe. Different Seasons, however, so this one's tricky because if you listen to the whole audiobook, it's 20 plus hours. You can't do it. But they do have Different Seasons, but they also have just Shawshank Redemption. So if you wanted to listen to that alone, they have the audiobook just for that, and you can do that. Different Seasons is actually our pick for January. So, if you're wanting to, configure this with Spotify, Different Seasons, 20 plus hours, maybe get it on Audible or Scribd or Everend as they call it now. But yeah, definitely not the best option for Spotify because it's 20 hours. And then we'll make our way down to Pet Sematary. I believe this one is longer than 15 hours. Great audiobook, though, narrated by Michael C. Hall, aka Dexter, but not the best option for Spotify. And then we have The Running Man, which is our pick for April. And this one, definitely a great pick for Spotify because it's like 7 hours, get through it. Might even be able to listen to another short book, so that's a good option. Christine is our pick for September. Not a great option, though, because it's, I believe, 19 hours. 19 is a good number, by the way, for Stephen King fans, but not for Spotify. Too long. And then we have The Talisman, which is obviously a chunker. Terrible book, so don't read it anyway. I'm just kidding. You can read it if you want to, but don't listen to it on Spotify because it'll take you 2 months. Thinner, great option. I believe it's like 9 hours. Get through it on Spotify in a month. A Skeleton Crew, don't think so. I think it's 20 hours. It's too long. Eyes of the Dragon, another good option. I believe this one's like 12 hours. You can listen to it on Spotify. And obviously It, like I mentioned, is like 40 plus hours. It would literally take you 3 months to read it on Spotify, so not a great option. Just probably get it on Audible. Misery, fantastic Stephen King book, probably my second favorite of all time. Definitely a good option. I think it's like 12 hours, maybe. Definitely less than 15, so good route to go for Spotify. Tommyknockers, too long. I think it's like 28 hours, so it would take you 2 months. Not worth it. The Dark Half, I believe, I have to look this one up. The Dark Half clocks in at like 15 hours and 15 minutes. So that's the ultimate troll. You get to the very end of the book and couldn't listen to the last, like basically the last chapter of the book. So, it's, so close. Obviously, The Stand, way too long. It would take you 3 months, maybe even 4 months, because I think that audiobook is like 48 hours. So, yeah, definitely not worth it on Spotify. 4 Past Midnight, again, too long. I think it's like just under 30 hours, so not the best route. Needful Things, 25 hours, too long. So not a great route. Gerald's Game, I believe, is less than 15 hours, so that's good to go. Same with Dolores Claiborne. I think that's like a 9-hour audiobook, so definitely check that out if you haven't already. One of my favorites. Nightmares and Dreamscapes, again, is interesting. It's definitely longer than 20 hours, but the way that they split it up on Spotify, it split it up into 3 parts, so you could read part 1 in a month and then part 2 in a month if you wanted to do it that way, but it is what it is. Rose Matter, which is actually our pick for February. No, I'm sorry, this is our pick for March. This one's slightly too long. It's 17 hours, so not the best option for Spotify. Insomnia, too long, too chunky, not a great pick for Spotify. The Green Mile, it looks a little chunky, but it's got large font, so it's actually, I think, like a 12-hour audiobook. Definitely a good option for Spotify. Desperation, too long. I think it's like 20 plus hours, so not a great option. However, its companion novel, The Regulators, is much shorter. I believe it's 12 hours. Definitely a good option. And then we have Bag of Bones, too chunky, 20 plus hours. Not a good option. And then we have The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. Definitely a good option. One of Stephen King's shortest novels. I believe it's like 6.5 hours. You could probably listen to this and like another book potentially. Hearts in Atlantis, yet again, another 20 plus hour audiobook. Not a great option for Spotify. And Dreamcatcher, our Stephen King book club pick for December 2025. Chunky book, 20 plus hours. Not a good option. And then Black House, the dreaded sequel to The Talisman. Not a good option. Not only because of its length, but also because it's not good. Everything's Eventual is just slightly too long, so not a great option for Spotify. From a Buick H, which is our Stephen King book club pick for February, this is a good option. It's like 13 hours, so less than 15 hours, so definitely a good option for Spotify. Same thing with Cell. This is also less than 15 hours, so a good option as well, although the book itself is questionable. And then we come to a very just annoying option for Spotify, because The Colorado Kid is like definitely one of the shortest things he's written. It's like a 3.5-hour audiobook, very short. It is on Spotify, but you have to pay for it. Literally all of these Stephen King books that I'm talking about, if you have Spotify Premium, they're just available for free. This is one of the only ones that you actually have to pay for, which makes no sense. You have to pay like $15 for this short-ass audiobook. It's really annoying, too, because this is one of our book club picks. This is our pick for... oh, God, what month did we pick this for? I believe this is our pick for July, which is just... because, like, I want people to read this, and I want people to have options for it, but really, like, probably what I'm just going to do is read it physically, but I do really like the audiobook, so it's a shame, but definitely not a good option for Spotify, because you literally have to pay for it. And then we have Lisey's Story, not one of my favorites, and it's obviously too long. It's, I believe, another 20-plus hour audiobook, so not a good option. We have Blaze, and this is another short option, definitely less than 15 hours, so good to go on Spotify. We have Just After Sunset, which is just under 15 hours, so a good option as well. And we have Doomickey, which is our pick for our Stephen King book club for June, although a great book, but again, 20 plus hours, not a good option for Spotify, unfortunately. And then we have Under the Dome. Can you take a wild guess here? It's too long. And then we have Full Dark No Stars, and this one just comes up right under 15 hours. I think it's like 14 hours and 55 minutes, so perfect timing. Definitely a great option for Spotify, and this is our August pick for the Stephen King Book Club, so definitely check it out. It's Full Dark No Stars. And then 11/22/63, chunky book, and I think you would actually, this is like just over 30 hours, so it would literally take you 3 months to do it if you did it on Spotify, so not a great option at all. Next up is Joyland, very short book, one of his shortest, and definitely a great option. It's definitely less than 15 hours. And then Dr. Sleep, which was our pick for December for the Stephen King Book Club. Not a great option. I think it's like 18 and a half hours, so not a great option for Spotify. And then we have Bizarre Bad Dreams, another collection that's too long. I think it's like 20 plus hours. Not a great option. We also have all 3 books in the Bill Hodges trilogy. All of these books are less than 15 hours. I think this one's like 14 hours, and then they kind of get shorter and shorter as the series goes. So definitely a good option if you want to just, bam, bam, bam in 3 months, get through all 3 books on Spotify in 3 months. We also have Revival by Stephen King. I don't know why I was going to say that, but we have Revival, and this is our pick for October for the Stephen King Book Club pick. Definitely a good pick for spooky season, but this one is also on Spotify for less than 15 hours, so definitely a good option there. And then we have Sleeping Beauties. Can you take a wild guess? I think it's just under 30 hours, so not a good option. And then we have Elevation. Terrible, but also it's very short, so if you want to, you can check it out on Spotify. Probably do this one and then just another book, honestly. And then we have The Outsider, which is just too long. I think it's like 18 hours. Not a great option, but great book. And then we have The Institute, which again, I think it's like 18, 19 hours. Just too long for Spotify. And then we have If It Bleeds, one of my all-time favorite novella collections. And this one comes in at just under 15 hours. So definitely a great option there. And then we have Later, definitely a very short option. I think it's like 6.5 hours or so. Yeah, definitely under 15 hours. And then we also have all 3 of the Gwendy books. And they're obviously all very short. They're all on Spotify. I wish I would have done the math. I believe you could probably get through all 3 of these books in a month. That's probably true. Maybe editing Jake will double check that if that's true. But that'd be something worth. Well, I don't know if it'd be worth it because you know what? I'm not getting into my opinions here, but you could probably do it in a month. And then we have a few of his latest books. Billy Summers. Over 15 hours, so not a good option. Also, Fairy Tale, well over 15 hours, not a good option. And then we have Holly, which I believe is over 15 hours, so not a great option. Also, You Like It Darker, I think that's like 20 plus hours. Again, not a great option. I also have a couple of nonfiction books. Dance Macabre, I think this is over 15 hours, so not a great option, but a better book in my mind, On Writing, I believe is less than 10 hours, so a great option for Spotify, less than 15 hours. Editing Jake here to just let y'all know, very disappointingly, that If It Bleeds, I double checked, is actually 15 hours and 12 minutes. That's very frustrating, but maybe, you could listen to like 3 of the novellas and then save the last one for a following month and then listen to something else. Why does Spotify have this stupid rule? Urgh. Also, just wanted to quickly mention that Skeleton Crew, while that is over 20 hours, you could listen to most of that and then skip The Mist, because they have The Mist available as a standalone. So you could do that 1 month and then listen to the rest of Skeleton Crew. I believe that math works out, but that's an option as well. And then, of course, we have the Dark Tower series, and the start of the series is a good way to do it on Spotify, because The Gunslinger, one of his shortest novels, I believe it's like 7.5 hours through audio, so definitely a good option through Spotify. And then the sequel, my personal favorite, The Drawing of the Three, clocks in at 12 hours, so another good option. But then as you continue with the series, The Wasteland, Wizard and Glass, Wolves of the Kala are all over 15 hours, so not the best options there. I believe, though, that Song of Susanna is less than 15 hours, and The Wind Through the Keyhole is also less than 15 hours. And then, obviously, The Dark Tower, over 15 hours. So, not probably it's probably a good option if you want to get started, but once you get deep into the series, it'll be kind of annoying to get through. And then as far as Never Flinch goes, it probably should be available on Spotify, like, soon as it releases. We don't really know how long it's going to be, but my guess is that it'll probably be over 15 hours. His other Holly book was over 15 hours, so that's probably what I'm going to assume, but we won't know until it's actually released on Audible. All right, so those are all the Stephen King books on Spotify that you could feasibly listen to in 1 month. Like I said, Spotify kind of has this stupid rule where you only get 15 hours per month for audiobooks, which is annoying for people who like longer books. Like, it's not great for fantasy lovers because, like, if you're trying to get through Stormlight Archive or A Song of Ice and Fire, it'll take you forever on Spotify. But it is a great option for people who love shorter books, like thrillers and just regular fiction stuff and mysteries and some horror. And like I went through all this video, Stephen King, while he is known for having super long tomes, he does have a lot of short options. So if you do have Spotify Premium, you can listen to a ton of these Stephen King books in 1 month. So that's a great option. And just to recap, for the Stephen King Book Club for 2025, different seasons in January, not a great option, except you can listen to just The Shawshank Redemption. They have that as a standalone option, but the whole collection itself is 20 plus hours, so not the best option. From a Buick H is a great option. That's less than 15 hours. We're doing that in February. Rose Matter for March, not a great option. That's 17 hours, so just over the limit. In April, we're going to be doing The Running Man, super short. You could probably do that and then also listen to another short book on Spotify because it's like 7 hours long. And then in May, we're going to be doing Never Flinch. That's his newest release coming out in 2025. We're not entirely sure what that audiobook length is going to be like. My guess is probably somewhere between 16 and 20, so probably not a great option. And then in June, we'll be doing Doomickey, not a good option. That's 20 hours. And then in July, like I mentioned with The Colorado Kid, it should be a good option, but you have to friggin' pay for it on Spotify, which is so dumb. So probably get it on Audible or just read the physical edition. And then August, we're going to be doing Full Dark No Stars, which is like the perfect length. It's like 14 hours and 55 minutes. So just under the 15-hour mark. Great option for Spotify. And then for September, we're going to be doing Christine. That's 19 hours. Not a great option. But for October, for spooky season, we're going to be doing Revival, which I believe is like 13, 14 hours. So just under 15 hours. So great option. In November, we're going to be doing Roadwork. That's like 7 hours. Very short. Definitely can get through that on Spotify. And then in December, Dreamcatcher, 20 hours. Not a great option. So hopefully this video was helpful for y'all who do pay for Spotify like I do, and it'll help you potentially use less credits on Audible, or, you know, hopefully this will help you in some way. And yeah, I'm definitely going to be planning on using some Spotify streaming to help me get through some of these books, because I'll be honest, I'm probably going to get rid of Everend, even though Everend is a great way to read Stephen King books. They have a new system now that I'm not going to get into, but I really don't like it. So I'm basically just going to stick with Audible, and if I just need more credits, I'll buy some. But also Spotify Premium, if you're paying for that, great way to at least read one book a month, you know, as well as listen to music like I love to do. So yeah, that was basically this video. Hopefully this helped you in some way. Different video for me, I know. Leave your comments down below, your thoughts and opinions on Stephen King on Spotify. And yeah, definitely let me know what you thought down in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and continue to subscribe for more content like this or different from this. I don't know. But anyway, I also have the Book Astronomer Discord where the Stephen King Book Club is taking place. Me and my good pal Ian from Ian the Reader are co-hosting it. We've already started October. We did Under the Dome, and then in November we did The Shining. In December we did Doctor Sleep, and then 2025, like I mentioned, we're going to be doing one Stephen King book a month. It's going to be a lot of fun, so check it out if you haven't already. And then I have my Patreon down below. You can support me there for as little as $1 a month. And I have my Amazon wish list if you want to buy me a book. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a fantastic day.